Hello everybody, my name is Michael, you know me as Coding Jungle, and today I want to show you how to install WSL in Windows 10. There are a few prerequisites that you must meet before you can install WSL. The first one is that, well, obviously you need Windows 10. It's also a good idea to have it up to date, so make sure it's up to date and you can move on. Like I said, you don't need a special version of Windows 10, like you don't need Pro, you don't need Enterprise or anything like that. You just need Windows 10. So anything from the basic Windows 10 all the way up to the most expensive one should be enough for WSL. The second thing you need to make sure you have is you need to have a CPU that's capable of virtualization. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm pretty sure everything from on Intel side from like i3 up will have virtualization, and anything on AMD side for the last 10 years, including the new Ryzen, any of the Ryzen series chips, should already have virtualization that comes with it. Now, the downside to this feature is that it is a feature of the CPU and it can be disabled in the BIOS. So you need to make sure that it's enabled. The easiest way to make sure it's enabled in Windows is right click on the task manager here. For some of you, it might look like this, and all you need to do is click on the more details, and then click on the performance tab and make sure you're in the CPU section. It'll tell you what kind of CPU you have. I can't talk today. It'll tell you basic things about it, but down here it will tell you virtualization. It will tell you if it's enabled or disabled. If it says enabled, you're good to go. If it says disabled, you'll have to go into the BIOS or the UEFI of your computer and enable it. I can't help you there. That's beyond the scope of this video. But it's fairly simple. Contacting the maker of your computer or your motherboard manufacturer should be able to tell you how to enable a virtualization on it. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into installing WSL. Now, you need to use PowerShell for this, so easiest way is to come down here to the search, type in PowerShell, and find it in the list, and then click on Run as Administrator, because you need it to have the elevated access in Windows. So we're going to tell this to do yes, because some of you might not have it enabled, or they might not even click over or click on for you. But the way I have it set up right now, it requires the UAC permission. So once you're in PowerShell, you need to tell Windows to install certain features. All right, and the first feature you want it to tell it to install or to enable is the WSL feature. Now, I will provide these down below in the video, so don't worry about trying to read that and type it all out yourself. The first one is going to be the subsystem for Linux for, I think that's all users. It will enable the feature. It might actually download some stuff for you, so this might take a while. And once it's done, it will tell you operations completed successfully. All right. Once it's done that, you can move on to the next one. The next one will be to tell it to install the VirtualMachinePlatform for Windows. And that's that one there. Again, it will go grab, it might need to go grab some stuff from the internet or from Microsoft servers to install. Once it's done installing, it'll tell you operation complete. Now, you need to restart after this point, so I'm going to sit here for quiet for a few minutes. I'm going to, not a few minutes, but a few seconds, and pretend you have restarted, and I'm going to greet you back. So go ahead, restart, and when you come back here, go back to the video to this point, and I'll see you there. All right, that's what I've done. I've pretended you have restarted. All right, so the next thing you need to do, you need to go grab a download from Microsoft itself. There's no way to do it from the PowerShell. So we can go ahead and just close out the PowerShell. It will be a link to a download file from Microsoft, and it's an update for the WSL kernel itself. Excuse me. And what that does is just it's a update for the kernel. And I was wrong. We will need the PowerShell. I closed that out just a little bit too early. So open it back up if you closed it out. All right. So all we're going to do is we're going to tell WSL to use WSL 2 over WSL 1. Because all the videos that I'll be making over this topic will be using WSL 2. I'm not going to go over the differences between the two because they're not really relevant. I mean, they are relevant, but there's no reason to confuse you at this point. All right, so we're going to type in WSL double dash. We're going to type in set dash default dash version space 2. And basically what we're telling WSL, from this point on, any container you build, we want to build the version 2 of it, not the version 1 of it. And we're going to hit enter. It's going to tell you, okay, we've done that. It will actually provide a link to an MSR and a Microsoft article that tells you the differences to WSL 1 and 2. So if you are that curious, I can guarantee right now, once you read it, you'll be like, I want WSL 2. But, be my guest. Go check out WSL 1 if you want to. All right, so once we're done there, we're going to close. We are definitely done with the PowerShell this time, folks. I can almost guarantee it. All right, so once it's all said and done, you've got the kernel update, you restart it, you enabled those 2 features. The next thing to do is to go to the Microsoft Store, and we're going to download the Ubuntu package from here, or app, whatever they call it in Windows. We're going to type in Ubuntu. Yes, there are different Linux distros you can choose from here. There's Alpine, there's OpenSUSE. I think there's a Fedora here. I don't know what else is all available for it. I prefer the Ubuntu because I'm a Ubuntu guy, and that's the distro I use. When I'm using desktop Linux is Ubuntu, and that's what my servers are Ubuntu. So I don't really variate from it. Nobody's ever given me a good reason why I shouldn't be using it. And even if they did, I'd tell them 100 reasons why everybody should be using it. But anyway, go ahead and install it. You'll have an install button here instead of a launch button. And it will install, take a few minutes depending on your connection speed. But once it's installed, you can launch it. Now, for you, it's going to say it's installing. And once it's done, if you know it, to know it's successful, it will ask you to create a username for your Linux distro. Now, keep it simple. Keep it something short, simple. I use my name, which is Michael, or mine. You want to try to avoid spaces. I don't think it allows spaces, and special characters. I don't think it doesn't allow either one, I don't believe. It could. I could be completely wrong on that. But I've always used simple names like Mike, Michael, something like that. And one of them, I think I used Coding Jungle at one time. All right, anyway, once you're done there, I'll ask you to enter your password. The first one, it will ask you to create it. Again, that's up to you, the complexity of the password you want to create. And then it'll ask you to confirm that password. So once it's done that, it creates the user and it takes you into the what we see here, basically. Now, I will tell you this. When you create the password, when you're typing it, it won't put anything up on screen because sometimes it will do something like that, or some things will. But Linux doesn't do that by default, not Ubuntu at least. There are ways to make it show, the asterisk thing. But it's not really needed. So we kind of, yeah, we just kind of get used to that. When you're typing in a password, it doesn't show up. So don't be like, oh, it's not working. It is working. It's just, and you do need to enter a password. It won't let you do a blank password. I think it will let you do a simple password, but it won't let you do a blank one. But anyway, once you're in there, you're good to go. Now you can continue to use the bash launcher here, because you'll find it here. And if you type in, oh, wrong one. You type in Ubuntu, you know, it will show up in your list and everything. That's up to you. I'm going to show you one more thing that I use over the bash launcher here, and that is the Windows terminal. Now there are two. There's the I guess you could say the stable one, and then the beta one. I use the beta one. They're virtually identical, but you know, you install it, and once it's installed, like if we actually, because I do have both of them installed. When you first install it, it will look like this. It will pop up. It will give you a PowerShell, not a PowerShell, PowerShell. Terminal basically. And if you click on the arrow, it will tell you can do a command prompt. You can do a Ubuntu 2004 or an Azure Cloud. Click on the Ubuntu one. Now, the reason I like the terminal over the bash one, tabs. Windows is finally getting it. Maybe if we're really lucky, in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll get a tabbed Windows Explorer, a file explorer that's got tabs. But they're finally getting the idea. Tabs are good. But no, also you could do, like if you look at the one that I actually use, you can see that it's got a different theme than this one does. And there's a site. I'll provide a link down below too to go get terminal themes, but that's not what this video is about. All right, so first thing you want to do is you want to type in sudo, or sudo as some people call it. I call it sudo. I know some people giggle when they hear me say sudo or sudo. All right, so type that in, space apt, which is apt, and then we're going to type in update afterwards. And what this does, it will go and refresh all the repositories for that Linux or that Ubuntu's connected to, and it will look for any updates, basically. And then if it finds any updates, because it will tell you like how many packages need an update. Here I've got them all up to date, but we can still run the command. So we're going to type in sudo, if I can type right, sudo apt. And now we're going to type in upgrade. And it's going to go download all the updates and install them, and then come back here and tell you how many, you know, it'll walk you through it. It's pretty simple. All right, that's pretty much it, what I wanted to show you in this video. I wanted to get you installed, you know, get WSL installed, get Ubuntu installed, and then install the preview or the terminal. You don't have to use the preview. You can use the stable one if you like. There isn't a whole lot of differences between the two. And then show you how to use the basic, you know, get it updated and, you know, get you ready to roll on the next video. Because the next video I'm going to show you how to install Apache, MySQL, and PHP to set up a web environment, and then show you how to use VS Code, which is another Microsoft product, which is, I don't want to call it an IDE. I don't view it as an IDE. I view it as an advanced notepad like Atom or Notepad++. You know, and then Notepad, it's not even like Notepad++. That's just an advanced notepad. That's all that is. I know people hate on me for my hatred of other IDEs, but I wouldn't call VS Code an actual IDE. It's an advanced text editor basically, but it's pretty powerful. And I'll show you how to use that with WSL to get the most out of VS Code and WSL on the same machine. All right, so I hope you guys look forward to that video. I hope you found this one educational and entertaining, and I'll see you next time.